My name is Craig Picken. I'm an executive recruiter. More than a decade ago, I started my practice for one purpose: to use my experience as a former military aviator, business jet sales executive, and P&L leader to help aviation and aerospace companies and their executives be fast, adaptable, and strategic. I do these podcasts to inspire and inform, but more importantly, they are a focused platform to help business leaders grow. Welcome to the Aerospace Executive Podcast. Welcome back to the Aerospace Executive Podcast. I'm thrilled to have Tom Lefaivre on with me. Tom is the CEO of a company called Anchor Harvey. It's an aluminum forgings manufacturer based out in central Illinois, a little bit west of Chicago. Privately held company with 180 employees, and they do work for a variety of industries, including aerospace, automotive. We talked about a couple of other companies on the industries on the periphery. And I'm thrilled to have Tom with us because he had to pivot to COVID, and it's a great story. So Tom, I'm just going to introduce you and say, hey, look, tell us what you're doing out there in central Illinois and why there's a big smile on your face right now.
All right, Craig, thank you very much. I've been looking forward to doing this podcast with you. I think like many businesses, COVID threw all of us a curveball. And I remember the middle of March having word come down that, businesses were going to be closed down. And we were a little bit concerned about that. So what Anchor Harvey did, first off, we made sure our employees were safe. Anchor Harvey is extremely clean. We have clean crews on 3 shifts. We hired 3 employees. All they do is clean. There's times I walk in the morning, my sinuses burn because it's so clean. We put up cubicle dividers. We take temperatures when employees come in. So we felt keep the employees safe first, and that's what we did. Second thing we did is we started calling our customer base to see what was going on with them. Because as you know, auto closed down it was a couple months. There's a major motorcycle company here in the country. They closed down for a couple of months. But as we went through that process, we also called people that might need life-critical forgings. Example of valve bodies that would go in the back of breathing tanks for firefighters or scuba divers, first responder equipment, police department equipment. We called customers we even used to have. And so we started stabilizing our business, and that got us at least through the first several weeks. And as we started to move forward, COVID took us through kind of a different path as we went. The first one we came across was when there was problems with meat packaging companies. They were concerned about contamination.
Yeah, sure.
And oh my gosh, the food supply is going to be disrupted. We do a fair amount in the hunting industry, and that lit up like there's no tomorrow. We make parts for compound bows, scopes for bows. It got so busy with that part of our business. We were really filling up quick. The end of the story is we're working 7 days a week on 3 shifts. The last part we have been seeing, though, is more nearshoring of parts that we know were over in Asia. And those have some front suspension parts, fan blades, tools. We know they were in the Asian rim because some of the work we used to do 15 years ago, and it has come back on shore. So through our marketing campaign, we just aggressively went after folks, and we found the work, and we're still out there aggressive, getting even more work. So we pivoted the business. Some of our top 5 customers are gone now. They are just, they have not come back that strong. So our book of business shuffled quite a bit.
Yeah, it's interesting. It was the one thing COVID did, and I was talking to one fellow, we actually was on a podcast too. The one thing COVID did is that it's a really good time to communicate with your customers. Even if you're just, there's nothing wrong with over communicating with your customers. And I think about, a lot of times it's, hey, we're just catching up. Are you guys okay? How can we help you? Whatever else. But a lot of people, put their head in the sand. It's like, oh my God, what do we do? What do we do now? And they isolated themselves.
Right.
And
I tell you what, they want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to supply us? What's going on? What's been your COVID response? What's worked? What hasn't worked? They just love to hear from you. And along the lines of what you're talking about, what Anchor Harvey's experienced, we've had 2 customer visits the entire year. They don't want to really come see us. They don't want to get on a plane. Same thing with prospects. So vice versa, our sales manager, sales engineers, they haven't been out in the field. And prospects, they're not doing that. So our web page and the electronic media has become so critical to us to land new work and to communicate to our customer base and prospect base. So we've been very fortunate because we've tuned those up in the fourth quarter of last year by chance. And we continue to update the web page every other week.
So what are you doing? So what are you doing on the web page? You had told me the other day. You told me the other day kind of what you're doing. Tell me what you want. And how's it working for you? I mean,
it's working. It's working great. We have a very attractive web page. We will rotate in and out different industries we'll be targeting. So let's say we're going to target the medical industry. We will put up some of the product that we have made over the years. We will do mass emails that we have quoted over the years, and also the LinkedIn database for maybe product engineers in medical. And boom, out go the emails. The web page been changed. The next day, we have a software called Lead Feeder. You turn your computer on, Lead Feeder tells you who hit your web page the day before. So we can tell when different companies, the names of the people, and most of the time their email addresses, that they checked us out. We take that, we send them over a brief presentation, and we send follow-up emails. And sure enough, just a matter of time, they'll send us in something to quote at least.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, I mean, it's like, hey, look, Anchor Harvey's open for business. It's me, we're mass, you're putting it out there. We're open for business.
Exactly. And Craig, you know what is happening? A lot of folks are at home.
Yeah.
So the open rate on emails for us is 3 times as high as it was before. Also, the click rate then to the web page has more than doubled. So people are at home, they're reading their emails like never before. So it's a great time to be pushing the marketing button.
No doubt. Yeah. Hey, look, it's times of crisis. You gotta, a lot of people, they pull it all in during times of crisis. You're going, hey, look, this is the one time you probably have to, if you're going to cut something else,
Yeah.
but once again, we're open for business. And I think that's a lot of misnomers people have right now is they go, it's sort of a false sense of thought process. Mm-hmm. It's COVID, everybody's closed down, so I'm going to sit down and do nothing. And that's a very bad, I was reading something, I think it was Wall Street Journal or somewhere, they said, people are working,
Yes, yeah.
Why aren't you? And
Mm-hmm.
how'd your employees? So how did your employees? You got 180 employees. They're, I don't know how, it's how freaked out they are, how much, how irreverent they are. What are they thinking during this whole process?
Yeah. We have a great culture at Anchor Harvey. If you check out the Anchor Harvey Facebook, you'll see what I'm talking about. And just for the record, I wasn't a guy wearing a sumo suit during the wrestling we had in our front yard. But our employees, they did freak out. On Friday, March 13th, the governor of Illinois was announcing businesses were being shut down. We were already in a meeting talking about what we're going to do, because a lot of them, their spouses were being laid off, bars, restaurants closing. So are you guys closing? Are we closing? So on the next following Monday, we got everyone together. We had meetings around the clock. No, we're not closing. And matter of fact, we are busy. We see some storm clouds on the horizon. Let's be cautious. First week of every April, our employees get pay increases. So in middle of March, we said we're going to hold off on those pay increases. We need to understand where the business is headed. The end of the story is in the middle of May, when our backlog was at record highs and we were going to be busy, we gave them pay increases along with bonus checks. And we were off to the races with our employees. Then what we did is every week we made sure we fed them at least once on all 3 shifts. So, the reaching out and saying, hey, we appreciate you for all these hours and we're all here. We got jobs, survive and thrive through the epidemic. It just, we've been very fortunate.
That's awesome. No, I'm glad you. So you're out a little bit south of Rockford, correct?
West of Rockford.
About west of Rockford. So you're out, you're a good 2 hours at least away from Chicago. Rockford you've got Woodward Governor out there, Woodward out there. You've got some UTC or Raytheon Aerospace now.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is it, it's not an easy place to recruit to. It's a little bit, how are you recruiting people? What are you doing to recruit people?
Well, what's difficult for Anchor Harvey to recruit is normally the hourly folks. The salaried folks, we will recruit from around the country. And we did bring in a gentleman from Pennsylvania from a Ford shop that closed down. He's our materials manager. So Freeport being 45 minutes west of Rockford, Freeport has a population of about 22,000. We have a reputation in town as being the best employer to work for. Mm-hmm. We're the company that does hams and turkeys yet over the holidays. We shut down the plant to play games. We give out TVs, 55-inch TVs for prizes. We do a lot of different things that our workforce really appreciates. We do surveys with them. You got to be careful with surveys. I don't want to build any false expectations that everyone's going to get a $20 an hour pay increase. We're asking them more about how they're feeling about the work environment. Do they like working here? And those numbers come back 95, 98%. They refer their friends. But one of the things we started to do, and it's working out pretty well, we have those yard signs, the garage sale signs. Mm-hmm. We had them tailor-made for Anchor Harvey. Awesome people should work at an awesome company, Anchor Harvey. And those are smattered throughout Freeport. And we've got people coming in all the time filling out applications. So, we're a little aggressive. And we're hiring 15 more. So it's gone pretty well.
What's the tenure? What's the average tenure of your employee, do you think?
9 years.
No kidding.
Yeah. Yep.
So they come in and they stick around. Obviously, what drives your culture? Obviously you're a positive guy. It starts at the top, but
we did our mission statement. We did our values. It was their information. They were part of that. I sat back and I let the plant manager and HR manager kind of steer it, and we took their input. Especially some of them have been here for 20 years. They wanted to give input to that, which is very typical at Anchor Harvey. We bring in a new press. We're using our employees to tell us where to put it, how to position it. We make them feel part of the team. And we have fun here. One of our values is we're going to work hard and we're going to play hard. There's times we have a big grill. We bring that thing out. We have big cookouts for everybody. We challenge them. Hey, if we hit this efficiency for the week, this is what's going to happen. We're cooking out brats or whatever. And we do something like that all the time. Anchor Harvey, T-shirts. It's just the things you should do for your employees costs a little bit of money, but there's a payback to it.
Literally, and there's the thing, people, how much, how much money, you're going, all right, well, if it costs me $100,000, it probably pays you back $1 million in lower recruiting costs or, tenure or whatever else. That's where a lot of people have that,
Craig, I got to tell you something that we do differently on attendance than everybody else. You have perfect attendance for a year, you earn yourself $1,000 extra in pay. And once it was 50% perfect attendance, drifted up to 75, 78%. So now you're not surprised as often that, I can't run a press line today because the press operator didn't show up. So that 25% extra makes a world of difference. And $1,000 a year, it doesn't matter. Don't run a press for a couple of days. That costs a lot of money.
Now, just that, hey, look, on the flip side too, you don't want people coming in sick either, getting everybody else sick. So how do you, that sick day is going to cost me $1,000. That's how do you?
Well,
there's a balance there.
There sure is. And sometimes we do have folks that show up and they shouldn't be here. We send them home and we won't ding them on the money. So it's like, you need to get out of here.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the type of rapport we have with them. Most time when we lose employees, it's attendance related. We're very strict on that. But there's also a time that when we kind of schneid off that a little bit and give them leeway.
How are you recruiting? I mean, when you talk about, you talk about skilled labor, I take it that you've got to have, for your machines, things like that. What do you find in the hardest skills to recruit right now? I know CNC programmers very much in high demand. You almost have to sell your mother to get one anymore.
Right. Good maintenance people are the same way. A lot of gray hair in both of those departments. In the maintenance department, we have started training our own folks now. We got a couple of young bucks in there, and they're doing a great job working with the senior folks. We were sending them to a junior college here in Freeport to gain some additional education. And of course, that's kind of gone online, and so we take a pause there. The CNC folks, they're hard to find. So we find ourselves paying a little bit more than the competition to get the good ones.
Gotcha. Now, you've been the CEO there for how long?
A little more than 17 years.
And before that?
I was president of another Ford shop in the Chicagoland area.
Do you find that, you're obviously a smaller company, big, you've got a couple of big companies that are, I'm sure some employees are migrating over. Do they find that big company, small company shift difficult to make a little bit?
On the salaried folks, they do.
Yeah.
Because in smaller companies, you are a junkyard dog.
Yeah.
You got to know a little bit about everything to really survive in a small culture. So I have a plant manager now, and he's a quick study. He came from a big company, but I see him over the last couple of years. He's changed and he's learned. And he's wearing more hats now, like the rest of us.
Yeah, that's the big thing that a lot of people talk about. It's that big company that a lot of small companies are like, hey, look, we need somebody who can adapt to small company. How do you get the salary people to make that mental shift, or do you just throw them in the deep end and say, here you go?
With the plant manager that we hired, we spent hours interviewing him. I think I came in about 7 to 8 hours of interview time. I really wanted to understand him philosophically of how he feels employees should be treated, what his knowledge base was. But one of the things we did talk about was big to small, what he thought a small business would be like, because most of my career is in smaller businesses. And so we thoroughly talked through that, the pros and cons, where his knowledge level was at. Did he spend most of his career in a silo? And so I know not to expect him to be able to, he runs a plant, but not know anything about human resources or purchasing. So I understand his knowledge level. And when he came on board, I made sure we had extra help in certain areas until he got acclimated. But you better know you need to know what you don't know sometimes. That's kind of hard. And we found out where his weaknesses were at.
Yeah, I'm not picking on any company here, but I talked to folks at Honeywell and Pratt & Whitney and United Technologies, and they talk these 10,000 foot conceptual value stream and it's like blue sky stuff, and you're going, what? Somebody's got to take out the trash. I mean, and if it's in your office, it's you, That's a big mental shift for some people.
It is
to go from the corner office to maybe a cubicle.
A little different.
But on the flip side, it's the challenges of a small company. I think, there's no difference, and there's no difference. The challenges in running a small company are not small.
You deal with the big companies too, so you interface with that type of culture.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, let's talk about something different. You talked about onshoring. What do you obviously politically we're seeing a big headbutt between China and America, and the U.S. right now. You're seeing a lot of stuff. Are companies getting more excited about bringing stuff to back into the borders and competitively? Can we compete on cost? Or for companies that want to do that, what are some other, if they can't do it on cost, what should they be thinking about?
Okay. For Anchor Harvey, it started in the June timeframe where we started receiving prints and models and inquiries about making these products. Some of the blueprints that came over were not in English. That's the first sign that you notice. But they were at the volumes that were in our wheelhouse. What we do at Anchor Harvey is we have a very lean manufacturing process. We have a one flow piece process. So from the beginning of the forge process to the end, it takes about 3 hours. The parts then have to be aged. That could be 8 to 10 hours. So in crunch time, we can get someone a forging in 2 to 3 days, which is very quick within the industry. So we offered them speed, smaller lot sizes, so they could turn their inventories. And what we do internally is we'll keep some raw material on hand. We prefer to keep it there than in finished goods because my raw material might be used for other customers too. And we've also aligned ourselves with a couple of aluminum mills that also have short lead time. So we shortened up our supply chain basically to give them smaller lot sizes quickly as they would need them. So are we as less expensive as they are? I think in total cost, we're very close now.
But the difference being made up in, hey, I don't have to keep inventory on my shelves.
Right.
Yeah, I need 10,000 of these things next Wednesday.
Yep.
The truck is showing up. And if it costs me a few cents more,
it's worth it.
it's worth it. It's the headache factor. How receptive, we talked about a motorcycle manufacturer. We talk about, a lot of these, how receptive are these guys to that conversation? They got to be really receptive to that conversation, especially today.
They are. Once we start talking that talk, the questions just flow. So my minimum lot size can be this, and I can get it delivered twice a month, and the questions just go. They realize it. They're well-educated folks. So that's one of our selling cards, the speed to market. But the other one at Anchor Harvey is our consistency of product. We have process control inputs on the entire forging process. You walk into the supervisor's office, engineers, maintenance, you see these big TV screens. They monitor the entire process of the heating of the billets, the presses, the aging of everything is monitored and controlled very closely. So for us, that provides a lot of uptime. It gives a status of the equipment. All of a sudden, if a press is pulling 5 more amps, the maintenance guys all get a notification on their phones. Hey, something's going on with that press. Go check it out. It becomes very predictive. So our uptime as a forge shop is incredible because of that system we have in place. So the uptime of equipment, and we can go fast. Makes a big difference for many of our customers.
What's the biggest challenge you getting the customer to shift to that mindset? I'm sure, look, nothing comes easy. It's like, hey, look, it's great. We can shorten your lead time. What are your are you getting into their inventory? Are you getting into their ERP? Are you bringing financial models to say, hey, look, guys, you can bring it on shore, et cetera. How are you making the case?
I think what you're asking, how do we find customers that value our value? And that's always a challenge, always a challenge. So normally my sales manager does have a fictitious spreadsheet of total cost because we've known so many customers that have gone overseas and they've shared the cost breakdowns. And so we swing back then with the smaller lot sizes and inventory turns. And, we might be off a little bit, but they see an example of it and they think about their business and their product lines. So we do flash up an example for them just to kind of make them think that way.
How much now of your customers now, customers come, customers go, every business has it.
Yes.
Do you have like a cadre of steady people that, hey, look, we've got long-term agreements with? and we're hanging in? Is a lot of your stuff transactional? How are you going to, how do you grow? How do you grow from here?
Yeah, excellent question, because Anchor Harvey is really a job shop.
Okay.
So our customers come to us and say, hey, can you forge this? Because we don't have a product line. Saying that though, we have many steady customers. For example, in the archery industry, there's 7 or 8 major players. We have capabilities due to large presses. It makes it hard for the competition to come in and take that business. But we service them like there's no tomorrow. We're dealing with the design of their bows now at their place before they even send it over. So we offer them some internal value of how to design bows. So they could leave us at any time, but they hang with us. We have the first customer Anchor Harvey ever had at this location in Freeport in 1979. That customer's still with us. So they come and go, but we've had a pretty steady book of business. We've lost some overseas, but we've landed a lot more than we lost.
That's got to be a pretty exciting.
We've grown this business 5-fold in the last 16 years. So it's been pretty exciting.
Wow. And you're privately held, private equity owned? What's
privately held? There's a family behind it, and they own other businesses too. So.
They ask you to continue to grow it. You've grown it 5-fold in 16 years. Is there another 2X coming?
Craig, I think you know these guys with that question.
Yeah.
But to grow for growth's sake is not what they're interested in. First and foremost, safety. They want everyone to be safe. Secondly, they want good quality parts because of a reputation for us and for them. And then it's production. We're going to continue to grow. Like, marketing's aggressive, and that's fine because I love the challenges. We talked about winning and learning.
Yeah.
I'm not going to win or learn unless I'm trying. So
hey, look, if you're, that's the thing. If you're not swinging the bat, you're not. You never. What is it? You never miss you never make the shot you don't take. Right.
Right.
Yeah. So mid-size, smaller mid-sized company, sub 100 million. Mm-hmm. What keeps you awake as a CEO at that size of business? I have this thing called the tugboat theory. And the tugboat theory is the captain of the tugboat has got shifting tides and he's pushing 20 boats into berth a day, whereas the captain of a big ship goes from Hong Kong to LA, on autopilot. So you got a lot of things going on. What have you learned over the years as a smaller company CEO? That you bring that you try to mentor up and coming professionals on.
I find many of my executives around me think relatively short term. And there are things you can do with a customer, pricing wise, market wise, idea wise, that you can keep them there for a long time. What keeps me up at night is when I drive by empty factories, I always think, what didn't they do right? Something didn't happen right. Was it sales? Was it marketing? Did they have a bad quality? And I always think about that. That keeps me up at night. And right now what keeps me up at night is we're on a roll. We're hot. We're doing great. Mm-hmm. But I'm thinking out 2 years away now, what other customers should I have in my base? Because the cycle time here is quite long. By the time you get a print, samples, they do their testing, before you get production work, it can easily be 18 to 24 months. So we're loading some in, but I'm not really happy with the amount we're loading in.
Okay.
But that's what keeps me up at night, is the futuristic, a little bit further out. Do we have the right equipment? Do we need to expand again? That's the stuff I worry about.
Who do you use look, nothing happens in a vacuum. We talked about your website and some of the website stuff you're doing, talking about some of the marketing stuff you're doing. You've got you've got a good commute. I know where you live. You've got a good commute to work every day. Do you just think about it in the car? Who do you use to help you with these things? And what do you suggest to people as they're coming in? Yeah, and you're thinking about, because I know people are pitching me ideas all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, all of them either sound really good or all of them sound bad. And then what do? Nothing.
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 Yeah. Yeah. A couple of things. One is I'm notorious for running book clubs, and people have worked around me for 25 years. Know what happens. We'll select a book. I mean, it could be servant leadership. We've done the Covey readings, the Goal, just a variety of books. Pump out a syllabus, and every Friday morning we have a couple of people that present, and we only go through about 40 pages, 45 pages. And so we read a lot of books, and over the years, I've read a lot of books. So that kind of helps me just continue to learn. But where do I go from there to learn even more? It's guys like you, these podcasts have been a blessing, because I went down your list of podcasts, and I'm picking which ones I want to listen to, and I'm learning. There's ideas there. Learning, you can't go to a seminar and everything they're going to teach you is what you need.
Right.
Pick up bits and pieces along the way. So on your podcast, okay, that's a good idea. So, but you have to stay sharp. You got to educate yourself.
Yeah, I know it's it's like a lot of times the best ideas come from your employees. I mean, it's hey, look, let's try this. And you're like, all right, well, we'll invest a little bit in it. You don't have to make a big bet, but we'll make $1,000 bet, and we'll just see where it goes.
Yep. Many of our employees will come up and say, that forging design isn't a good design because they go through it, that it turns out to be right. And, they might find a little something extra in their paycheck in a week or two then. So kind of spreads, that helps. You're right, though. The shop floor folks know a lot, more than we give them credit for.
Who brought you the website? Who brought you the marketing idea? Where did your marketing? You've obviously got a talented marketing person. Is it full time on staff, or do you?
No, we have a company on the outside called Red Caffeine. They're in Lombard, Illinois. They've done an excellent job of setting up our whole little machine here of how we generate leads, follow up on leads, and kind of fill that funnel. I've never experienced something like this. We have done, in years ago, we've done telemarketing and other means of it, but we never had the results that numbers we're driving now because of them.
That's awesome. And they just keep the funnel full. Your sales guy kind of bring in your salespeople.
Yep. We meet with the marketing company via Zoom every other week. Mm-hmm. And then we have big topics we're going to discuss. It can get down to weekly conversations with them. So they're very active in our business with us. And you've got to put the time in. If they're coming up with ideas and they need articles from you, you got to do the articles on a timely basis and get them out there. So engaging a marketing company costs some money and requires some work too.
Yeah, well, everything. It's an investment. I mean, it's an investment. I tell people go to conferences. They go, why? They cost a lot of money. I mean, like, hey, look, what, $1,000 to go to, $1,000 to go, $500 to the plane ticket, it's $2,000 to invest in your own personal growth. You go meet 100 people in your, you can't look at it as a cost. You got to look at it as an investment.
Yeah. Years ago in Illinois, in Northern Illinois, there's an organization called the President's Forum. And you would be with a group of 6 different presidents. You rotate in on each other's company once a month. Mm-hmm. And so you'd make it through a company twice a year. And that was a rigorous review of the financials, the shop floor, business direction. And I did that for 3 years before I moved up here to Northwest Illinois. And it was so educational. It was like a hands-on MBA program by fire. And it was great. A very good organization.
Where do you move from here? So COVID, you guys got COVID figured out. You got the shop as clean as it's ever been. The employees are safe. I suspect that, in a few months, we'll all look back and go, gee, that was no fun. I hope it never happens again. Where do you take your business from here? What industries do you like? How do you compete? How do you compete more aggressively? What are you thinking about?
We got a couple of things going. First off, like our speed and our quality of parts, our calling card, that's going to help us acquire more aluminum forging work. what Anchor Harvey is doing strategically is we're shifting into some different super micro alloys, and we're beginning to test those internally under forgeability. Titanium, magnesium, we're just beginning to test some of that. Magnesium, for example, is very popular in Europe and Russia, but in the States, we haven't really embraced it, I think out of fear of not understanding the material. So we're going to go down that road some. It's pretty well on its way already, and that will open up markets to us. We would love to do more in aerospace, and that's why we're talking. And but as we discussed, it might be a little bit, but we're going to still keep on sending out our emails to the engineers, make sure they know Anchor Harvey's out here. But we have some internal things. I think the future of the lightweight and strength material, you have to have that in your portfolio.
Are you optimistic about U.S. manufacturing? Do we have the skills? Do we have the talent? Can we get the people and keep them motivated?
I believe yes. I think they are out there. Manufacturing has gotten a bad name over the years, but there still are good manufacturing companies here in this country, and you can make a good living. You can learn a lot. You can have a great career. They're still out there. They're still alive. We'll get past COVID and just watch. It'll keep coming back. I don't think a lot of people want to maybe outsource to other countries the way they used to. I see a slowdown in that for a while, and it gives us an opportunity to prove ourselves. So you got to be on your game.
Protecting your supply chain has got to be on every procurement leader's, supply chain leader's mind right now. The CEO, it's like, especially in today's political world where, all bets are off. Literally, all bets are off, and I don't care what happens in the election. It's not. Yeah. It's not getting any better in December.
Yeah.
I got to think that's got to be a huge, thought process in everybody's mind.
We have sat around and discussed the different possibilities, and I finally said, we're done discussing this. We're going to have to play the hand we're dealt, because we can speculate until the cows come home. We have a couple of different ideas of one goes this way, one goes that way. How is that going to affect our business? Mm-hmm. And we know how we would respond, but it's very uncertain. We are uncertain times. I would have never thought a year ago I'd be in this position right now of where the business is at. And I think I have the same thing going on right now, that 12 months from now, I don't know for sure. I really know where we're going to be.
Are you up over 2019? Are you flat? Are you down?
Oh, we're up. We're up by 25%. We're having a record year. But the uncertainty with the election and things with world events, I feel like we're in uncertain territory right now.
I guess that means you got to pedal a little faster, right? It's like everybody, things, it's like you just got to work a little harder, be a little smarter, and crying in your beer doesn't do anything.
Exactly. Yep.
It's all good. Hey, we've been doing this about 40 minutes. Let's wrap it up here. And I promise, and we'll do another one. How about we do another one, in a couple months. Love to hear how you're doing in early 2021, and we'll see how the year, filled out. How do people get a hold of you?
I've been told not to do this, but a couple ways. On the Anchor Harvey webpage, there's, a direct link to us, and they can always get a hold of me at my phone number, and it's 815-494-9183. It's on the internet. All my employees have it, and people can call me directly. That's fine.
There you go. Tom Lefaivre, CEO of Anchor Harvey out in Freeport, Illinois. Hey, thanks, Tom, for coming on. This was awesome. It's great to hear somebody so optimistic and smiling, and it's a great message a lot of businesses need to hear right now. So
I enjoyed it. All right. Thank you.
Perfect. I hope you enjoyed the latest edition of the Aerospace Executive Podcast. You can reach out to me directly, Craig at NorthstarESG.com, or check us out at www.northstaresg.com. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, or on YouTube. Just do a search for Aerospace Executive Podcast. Thanks again. I'm Craig Pickett.